Well, before I got my first camera, my dad had the camera kit, a fantastic Canon camera with all the lenses and flash kits and stuff. And with many families, it's the dad, it's the father who has the equipment, and nobody else is allowed to touch it. Thankfully, my dad is quite generous and allowed me to, but I still had to be really careful with his camera, not to get dirty or anything. I could only hold it in a certain way, and he'd had to take it back, or he had to supervise my image making when I was a kid. But I actually was fascinated with it. I mean, it was quite a good camera. So the idea of these sharp, crisp images that he was making, I just kind of was fascinated by them. I loved them. They were really super saturated. I guess it was the process they went through. From that, I got a camera for my birthday. I was probably 9 or 10, and would take photographs with it willy-nilly. Not necessarily very interested in it. I wasn't an anorak with photography, definitely, but I kind of, and I actually didn't see that there was a relationship between photography and art at that stage either. I had no sense that photography was part of an art practice, or could be. But I just was very interested in images, and I've always been so interested in looking at albums. I was obsessed by looking at my family albums before I existed. So seeing my mum and my dad when they were young, when they were teenagers, seeing my grandparents, seeing their trips to New York, their trips to wherever, my older siblings when they were young, all those things that I had never seen in actual life. So I really did. I was much more fascinated with images and their function within my small world at that time, rather than my first camera and what the photographs I took with it, because the photographs I took were rubbish.